Another update from police expected this afternoon as authorities continue their search for a missing Wisconsin teen. Her name is Jamie Kloss. And Turkey officials believe a hit squad killed a missing journalist working for the Washington Post. What President Trump is saying about accusations that Saudi Arabia was involved.
This is News 3 at noon.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Mark Kane. Thanks for tuning in to News 3 on this Wednesday. We'll get to those stories in a bit, but first, let's head over to the Weather Center. Meteorologist Dave Caulfield has a look at your first alert forecast. Some clouds this morning, but now they've moved on.
Yeah, they have moved on, but the temperatures are still a little bit chillier outside. Pretty noticeable, in fact. In some spots, maybe as we head into the afternoon, it will be a little bit better, but a live look in Madison, the WISC-TV Skycam at that pretty much wall-to-wall sunshine. We're up to 44 degrees right now at the airport. Northwest wind at 13 miles per hour. It's very dry air in town with that dew point in the 20s. Temperatures in some other spots, 45 in the Dells, already up to 47 in Lone Rock and 48 in Boscobel, 46 in Janesville and 42 in Juneau. Wind speeds, they've shifted to out of the north and west at about 10 to 15 miles per hour. Breezy throughout the day, so not as strong with the sustained winds, but still pretty gusty at about 20 to 25 miles per hour. And with that wind, it actually still feels like the 30s in Madison and the Dells. Temperatures and winds over the next 12 hours, we'll see those highs in the mid to upper 40s today, and that wind will die down as we head into later tonight and tomorrow. Your forecast first, I think we'll start in the 30s as we head into later tonight and tomorrow morning. When I come back in just a few minutes, we'll talk about the weather staying breezy, but also our next chance for some raindrops and even some flurries in your first alert forecast.
All right, a little something for everybody.
Exactly.
All right, Dave, we'll see you in a few minutes. Thank you. The search for a missing Wisconsin teen is in its third day. 13-year-old Jamie Kloss has been missing from Barron, Wisconsin since early Monday morning. Police received a 911 call from her home and found James's parents dead inside. Police say an autopsy is being done on them today. They also believe that Jamie is in danger, but have not provided any details, saying it could compromise the investigation. As of yesterday, police had received more than 200 tips. They also ruled out one from Miami, where someone reported seeing someone who looked like Jamie at a gas station. Investigators say they do not believe Jamie is a suspect in her parents' deaths. They plan to provide another update on this case this afternoon at 4 o'clock. Anyone with information on where Jamie might be can call the number there on your screen or 911. Dane County deputies say they're investigating a deadly crash outside Waunakee this morning. Traffic is moving again right now along Highway 19 at Walter Road. The crash happened just after 6 when officers say a truck crossed the center line and rolled over into the ditch. The 32-year-old driver was killed in that crash. His name has not yet been released. The U.S. search for the truth of the disappearance of Jamal Khashoggi continues. Khashoggi, a Washington Post contributor and U.S. resident, went missing on October 2nd. He was seen entering the Saudi consulate in Turkey, but he was never seen coming out. Angelica Alvarez has more details from the White House.
President Trump is warning against a rush to judgment against Saudi Arabia in the disappearance of Washington Post contributor Jamal Khashoggi. The president told the Associated Press he believes in innocent until proven guilty, and he compared the case to the sexual assault allegations against Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh. But the president does say there could be problems if Khashoggi was found to be murdered on orders from the Saudi government.
It depends whether or not the king or the crown prince knew about it, in my opinion. Number one, what happened, but whether or not they knew about it. If they knew about it, that would be bad.
Secretary of State Mike Pompeo is returning from Turkey after meeting with that country's president. The secretary also met with Saudi Arabia's King Salman and the Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman.
I stress the importance of them conducting a complete investigation of the disappearance of Jamal Khashoggi. And they made a commitment. They said they would do that.
Secretary Pompeo says he told both the Saudis and the Turks the U.S. would give them the space to conduct their own investigations, and he offered American help.
That was Angelica Alvarez reporting. Meanwhile, Turkish investigators say they are awaiting approval from Saudi Arabia to search the Saudi Consul General's residence in Turkey. The Consul General has apparently already left the country. Residents of hard-hit Mexico Beach, Florida are returning home for the first time since Hurricane Michael. They are arriving to find their houses devastated by wind and water and their lives scattered across the Florida panhandle. Residents who rode out the storm at home have been in Mexico Beach since Michael hit, but authorities told others to stay away for a week after the storm. So far, 29 people have died as a result of Michael. There's more to come on News 3 at noon. Up next, we'll see what Howard's working on in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
Hey, Howard, what did one squash say to the other squash?
Kelly, I have no idea.
You're looking very gorgeous.
Stick around and we'll show you how to turn these into a special tasty treat. The next time you go to the market, take a few extra minutes and check out all the different types of squash. If you're like most people, you sort of just walk by them since you're not really sure what they are or what the heck to do with them. So let me share a couple of my favorites. These here are acorn squash. They get their name since they're shaped like an acorn. After we cut them in half and remove the seeds, we can roast them with a little butter, salt, and pepper, and are they ever tasty? Now, these big things are butternut squash. Again, these and the acorn squash are both gourds. After cutting them in half and removing the seeds, they're ready to be roasted, boiled, or mashed. But today, we're gonna turn these into fritters. After peeling and grating them, we mix them with some chopped onion, an egg, a little flour, and salt and pepper. Then we carefully spoon these into some hot oil until they're crispy and golden. Who would think those strange-looking squash could be so darn good? Maybe drizzle on a little syrup to make them extra tasty. The recipe for our butternut squash fritters is online now, along with a bunch of our other favorite squash recipes. I'm Howard with Kelly in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found a gorgeous way for you to say Ooh, it's so good. They're hot.
All right, guys, thank you. Another sunny day for us here in southern Wisconsin, but when is our next chance of rain? Dave has those details next during our first alert forecast. Our Call for Action phone bank is open right now, ready to take on your consumer issues. You can call our hotline. Volunteers will help you with any consumer complaints. The number is 608-270-2833. The service is open every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday between 11 and 1. New numbers out when it comes to data breaches, and the Mega Millions pot hits a new record. Here's Diane King Hall with today's Money Watch report.
Strong travel demand and higher ticket prices helped boost United Continental's bottom line in the third quarter. The air carrier says it earned $863 million on sales of about $11 billion. The airline CEO says United is building momentum and raising full-year profit expectations. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration wants drivers to put down their phones. According to data from the agency, more than 480,000 drivers are on their phones at any given moment of the day. To curb distracted driving, NHTSA is partnering with the Ad Council for new public service announcements in a Stop the Text, Stop the Wrecks campaign. Data breaches are becoming increasingly more common, and residents of some states may need to be concerned about the effects more than others. According to WiSC-TV, Nevada is the state with the most identity theft and fraud. It's followed by Florida and New Jersey. And finally, the Mega Millions jackpot is soaring. With no winner of last night's drawing, the pot now stands at $868 million. That is a record. 9 Mega Million tickets hit 5 numbers to win $1 million Tuesday. The pot has been rising since late July when 11 workers in California shared the prize. The next drawing is this Friday. And that's your CBS Money Watch report. For more, head to cbsmoneywatch.com. At the New York Stock Exchange, I'm Diane King Hall.
All right, Diane, thank you. The Dow Industrial is down 48 points after yesterday's big gain. The NASDAQ down 18. Let's check in now with Q106 Farm Director Pam Yankee on this sunny and windy Wednesday.
Yep, that's right. I'll bet there's a lot of my guys that are missing the noon show today so they can be out combining either corn or beans. I've had a lot of conversation with farmers this morning and a couple university extension specialists that said they just wish they had two combines so one could be going in the corn and the other could be in the soybeans. Yesterday, Wisconsin Ag Secretary Sheila Harvsdorf sent out a memo that just basically asked all farmers to take it easy. We know that we are in a condensed window as far as the harvest is concerned, but thinking safety, that has got to be your primary concern, not just safety for you, for your family, but also your employees. So please, please, please try to get a little rest, try to eat right. It's not just Mountain Dew and a candy bar. You got to try to think about those things because we're probably just in the front 30% of getting the harvest going. Hopefully the weather will cooperate. So the stories today in the market are kind of interesting. I'm watching what's going on with soybeans. We're up again today. I told you yesterday about 5 million bushel of soybeans from the United States headed for China. Well, the news story is today that those beans were bought by the Chinese government-owned, I think they say Sinograin, and now we found out today that China's not going to impose the 25% tariff on their own state-owned company. So that's a little bit interesting. Now, I'm still not sure if those beans have arrived in China, if they're being offloaded, but it is kind of interesting to see how apparently some rules apply to some companies and other rules are being forgotten when it comes to different transactions. So just the way it is when you're doing business with China. But still, it's keeping our bean market fairly firm. And we're also continuing to watch harvest results from across the upper Midwest. We think our weather's in tough shape and been treating us poorly. I guess there's guys down in central Illinois that are trying to combine beans that have been under snow already. So a lot of real quality issues that the grain elevators are reporting down in central Illinois, and obviously farther south we're getting results on Hurricane Michael and about the $1.3 billion in damages just to agriculture in 3 states that they're looking at there. As far as dairy is concerned, today barrel cheese down 4 at $1.29 1/4. 40-pound block cheese dropped 3 at $1.53. AA butter up a penny and a half at $2.28 1/2. Yeah, the drying breezes are definitely helping us take the moisture down in our crops. I'm just hoping that we can keep going and that New York City there, our best commodity, Mr. Dave, is going to give us a better opportunity for even a dry weekend. I know there's rain in the forecast. We can take a little dab, but I'm hoping that we're not going to test rain gauges again. You know what I mean?
I hear you. Let's find out from New York City, Dave himself. Thank you, Pam. We'll see you tomorrow. Our hot commodity.
Concrete jungle where dreams are made of.
That's right.
There is something that I can do, though, unlike Jay-Z. Oh my gosh, I can't remember. Alicia Keys, there we go. Oh, boy. Well, it's been a roller coaster of emotion
you
just
lost
now.
Me along that path.
Yes, it's been a roller coaster as far as temperatures go for the entirety of October. Look at that. We had temperatures in the 80s, and then just a couple of days later, we had highs in the 40s. I think this trend is going to continue over the next couple of days, but it's the part of the roller coaster that everybody can handle. So it's up a little bit, down a little bit, and really over the entirety of the month, if you believe it or not, our monthly temperature departure is actually even. So we're right where we should be for this time of year, despite the fact that we had temperature departures of 20 degrees above normal on some days and about 15 degrees below normal on others. Everything evens itself out. At least that's what we can think if we maybe get some fortune cookies or just that's the mantra that you want to live by. I don't know. A little bit weird on this forecast, but our 3 things that we're looking at, first of all, we're looking at this great picture from Jay of the fall colors behind that barn, but it's staying breezy, up and down temperatures, and the rain and flurry chance comes to us this weekend, so we'll have more on that in just a little bit. Here's our picture in Platteville on our Queen Bee Radio Skycam, wall-to-wall sunshine, a little bit choppy, the water on Lake Mendota right now on the Edgewater Skycam, but a nice day nonetheless. Cooler, though. Temperatures in the upper 40s for highs, about 10 to 15 degrees below normal for this time of year. We are in the mid 40s in Madison, 46 in Janesville, 46 in Mineral Point, and 47 in Lone Rock. About 5 degrees cooler compared to this time yesterday when we all got into the upper 50s for highs and even some 60s. Wind speeds, though, that's the big factor. That's the big change from today as opposed to yesterday, with those winds out of the north and west at about 10 to 15 miles per hour, actually making it feel like the upper 30s in Madison, the Dells, and Watertown. But I think while it will still be gusty today, that garbage can stays in place because the sustained wind, only about 10 to 15 miles per hour, and most of our trash cans can handle it. Now, can we handle temperatures staying below normal for this time of year? That's not a question that I can answer necessarily, but we'll stay in the 40s and 50s over the next 5 to 7 days. Future track showing things staying pretty calm as we head into the rest of the day today, starting off in the upper 20s in some spots for Thursday. Highs back into the 50s Thursday, and I think we'll get into the 50s on Friday as well. A couple of light rain showers on Friday and on Saturday as well. And to answer Pam's question, really not looking at anything significant when it comes to rain accumulations, maybe about 1/10 of an inch to 2/10 of an inch, and that's at best. So we're not really worried about any flooding, which is good news. But a couple of flurries are possible later on Saturday as all that precipitation is wrapping up. So we'll watch out for that. And then we're in the 50s pretty consistently next week. Even a few 60s are possible by the time we get to the start of next weekend.
Big homecoming weekend in UW-Madison. Parade Friday night, game Saturday morning.
Yeah, hopefully that rain stays away. It will be a couple of drops, if anything, but we want the weather to be nice and we want the Badgers to win, of course.
There you go. Yes, we all do. Thank you, Dave. Well, there's more to come on News 3 at noon. Up next, a NASA astronaut describes a close call and fall to Earth following a failed launch. We'll be right back. The American astronaut who survived a dramatic failure of a Russian rocket says he's lucky the emergency abort system worked. Nick Hague was one of 2 people in the capsule when something went terribly wrong, plunging them back down to Earth. Tony DeCopel caught up with Hague as he described the emergency landing.
I imagined that my first trip to outer space was going to be a memorable one. I didn't expect it to be quite this memorable.
Engines at maximum thrust.
Astronaut Nick Hague and cosmonaut Alexei Ovchinin were 2 minutes into their climb to orbit, traveling at 4 times the speed of sound when their Soyuz rocket failed.
It went from normal to something was wrong pretty quick.
A strap-on booster apparently crashed into the side of the rocket's central booster and burst into a cloud of debris. The automatic abort system detected trouble and threw the crew's capsule up and away.
The first thing I really noticed was being shaken fairly violently side to side as that safety system pulled us away from the rocket. You're a little bit startled, and then I saw the booster failure light inside the capsule, and at that point, I realized, hey, we're not going to make it to orbit today, and your training kicks in and you're ready to respond. And so Alexei and I changed gears.
A crew member aboard the space station caught the moment on camera. If you look closely, you can see the Soyuz capsule nearly reaching the edge of space before gravity pulled it back down to Earth.
There was a point where I looked out the window and I saw the curve of the Earth out there and the blackness of space, and it was a bittersweet, fleeting moment knowing that I got that close. What can you do? Sometimes you don't get a vote.
Hague and Ovchinin landed safely in Kazakhstan, about 250 miles from the launch site. The 2 were treated to a snack and a medical checkup before being reunited with their families, including Hague's wife, Katie.
I got to tell you that when we finally got to hug each other coming down off the plane, it was a bit of release for both of us, the emotions that we'd been kind of holding back just to stay focused on the situation. As for the boys, my youngest, God bless him, he looks at me and he goes, Dad, when are you going back to space?
Tony DeCopel, CBS News, New York.
And Hague says he wants to fly again, but he doesn't know when he'll get another chance. But he is lucky to be alive.
That is crazy.
It is crazy.
My goodness.
But they had a plan in place. And
yes, exactly. And that's one way to get 250 miles, too.
A lot of frequent flyer miles in a hurry.
Yeah, exactly. And we've had some frequent flyer miles in the 40s, and that's where we are right now. And this afternoon, highs will be in the upper 40s, breezy and colder with sunshine.
All right, we'll see you back here at 4. Have yourselves a great afternoon.